a minute. Here we go. All right. Operator.
I see me now.
Operator error. Okay, everyone. Let me know when you see us, and let me know when you hear us.
You want to do a do-over?
Yeah. We'll get to everyone. Everyone's good. Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. The show's just ending.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have yourself a great week. Yeah. I'm DK with Adventures in Dirt. We'll see you. No. Audio and video good. My gosh. You know, there's so many buttons and things I got to push. You think I would learn to push the start streaming button. Yeah. But when I'm going to do a live stream, oh my gosh, red face.
No, Tony, you did not miss it.
Tony, thanks for coming. You missed everything, boy.
We just did the first 15 minutes for our own pleasure.
Shoot. Everybody, thanks for showing up. I apologize. That's probably why. Well, now it'll start streaming. Excellent. Missed the intro, but hey, we got the most important people on here. We got our guest, Jeff Ford, the Plugmaster himself. Awesome. So everyone give me a thumbs up for the sound. Give me a thumbs up for video just to make sure we're good. I think I saw that we were good. But
if you missed the first 15 minutes, I shared where I hid 1,000 dimes, silver dimes. So.
I heard that, and I'll start the bidding at $100, and we'll work our way up there. Yeah. You can start emailing me at DK Adventures in Dirt. Yeah. But hey, Jeff, you know, it's not only you on tonight. I heard you got a jigging partner with you, Missouri Mike. Let me head on over there and see if we can pull him in. Hey, Mike, there you are. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well tonight. A little cold here in Springfield. We got supposed to get down to about 11 degrees, and the old bones get creaking when it gets that cold. It's hard for me to get up and down as it is, but I'm a slow digger. Jeff teases me all the time. He says, how long are you going to hover over that hole? I said, I don't know whether I want to get up or not, you know. The older you get, the more you don't want to dig those iffy signals, you know.
Boy, I tell you, it takes an effort. You're like, what I want to do it or not. Everybody, Missouri Mike. I'll tell you what, Mike, you've been on YouTube a long time. How many years have you been on YouTube?
Well, I started about 3.5 years ago, Melotech, and maybe 4 now, but I started throwing videos together, which I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it. Always have enjoyed it. I started the YouTube channel. I've got over 300 videos on there. Of course, the quality of them aren't very good, but I was doing it for my own self because my way of thinking is someday when I'm in the wheelchair at the house, I may want to watch something that I'd done years ago so I can maybe pull up the videos and all that. Unfortunately, I had them all on my hard drive, my backup hard drive the other day.
Yeah.
And I got a new computer. I didn't know what I was doing, so I hit the delete button and I wiped them all off there. So,
boy, I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
Shoot. Yeah. You ever done that, Jeff? Have you ever done that?
No, I've never done that, but I've been a part of Mike for a while now, so I understand it.
Yeah. I've got my own language, you know, and he understands my language anymore. Anymore, I type something or say something, he knows.
I translate. Yeah. I'm a translator.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the same with looking at coins. I know if anybody watches any of the videos out there, we never get the dates right. It's always just a guess, you know, and my eyes are terrible. His are terrible. We just start guessing at dates, and maybe we hit it, maybe we don't, you know. So it's a lot of fun. It really is. It's a lot of fun. We get together and we have a blast when we go. I mean, every day is an adventure when we go together, and I enjoy it. Really do.
It comes across on the videos. I'll tell you guys, it really does. Watching, you know, I love hunting with a partner and with some buddies of mine, somebody that shares the passion for the hobby. There's nothing better, in my opinion. And it's funny, when I started this hobby, Jeff, I thought this was a very solo, very independent. I was just going to be this solo guy out there. And there's aspects of that, right? And I kind of like that sometimes, solitary out there in the middle of nowhere. But boy, there's nothing like digging with somebody that shares that passion. So
yeah, and I tell you what, I can remember when I first started digging by myself. I remember digging, and this is, you know, this last when I really got into it, I dug a silver rosy dime and had a buddy there with me, and I thought, you know, that was cool to share that. So I go back to that same area and I bust a barber dime.
Wow.
Well, that just floored me.
Wow.
I guarantee you, I made 10 telephone calls right there, just because I wanted to share with someone, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's nice, you know. And Mike and I, you won't meet two more laid back people. You know, we go out to find stuff. That's our goal. But if we don't, you know, we always have a good time. I mean, you know, sure, we don't have a picture to post on Facebook when we get home, or it's going to be a junky picture or whatever, but we always have a good time. I don't think we've ever left. And I know guys who have that said, yeah, I'm just not going to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore.
How long you been detecting, Jeff? And I'll ask you next, Mike.
I've been at it hard. I've been at it hardcore. I started getting into it in 2014, and I say getting into it again. My dad, my family, we always had detectors. You know, we never truly hunted. We played, and so, you know, in 2014, I limped back into it, and it didn't take long to realize this is what I want to do. And so then I started my YouTube channel not long after that. I'm trying to think of how many years I've had the YouTube channel. I think I posted my first videos around Christmas of 2015, maybe. So we're coming up on 3 years.
Yeah. Wow.
3 years of doing it. Hey, that Tootsie toy right there that's on the screen, if everybody's seeing that, or if it's gone already, that was one of my first Tootsie toys ever.
What was it? I missed it.
Yeah. It was an ambulance.
An ambulance. Wow.
Yeah, and it's a bigger scaled ambulance. So
wow.
Sorry, I know I'm on a delay, so it's probably already gone by the time.
Mike, how long have you been detecting?
Oh well, my grandfather owned a Weiss distributorship back in the 70s, and I was 14, 15, and so I got a machine then, and I went out and did a little hunting then, and you know, things happened and got married and kids and all that, and kind of had other priorities for a long period of time, and then went to college, picked it up a little bit off and on there during college time, mainly sidewalk strip hunting. And there was still a lot of silver and stuff around. It wasn't hard to find silver in the 80s. And then I got, my house got broke into in the 90s, and all of my stuff got stolen. My machine, my, everything completely wiped out. So it kind of really left me with a big empty hole there. And so, you know, things happen and whatever. And about 4 or 5 years ago, fuel, I used to fish quite a bit. Fuel got real high. It was around $4.50 a gallon here in Missouri. And, you know, to go out on a boating trip, to go boating with the boat, it was costing me, I don't know, $40, $50 just to go fish. Well, you know, like I say, when I was going by myself, it wasn't any fun. That's the same thing with metal detecting. When you go fishing, think of it like this. If you catch the biggest fish out there, big bass or big crappie, whatever you're fishing for, and there's nobody else to see it, doesn't matter, really. And that's kind of the same with hunting with a digging partner. If you can't share it with somebody, it's not the same meaning, you know. And so going down and fishing, you know, and you know, after a couple hours of fishing, I thought, wow, I'm not really having a good time. I want to go home. Well, I'd already spent the money to go, so you know, I decided, what can I do to you know, if I want to go metal detecting for a few hours and come back, which I knew I always liked metal detecting. So I picked up the machine and took off, and it's, you know, that's been about 4 years ago now.
Now, are you both in the same town, or how far apart do you live?
About an hour.
About an hour away. So do you guys get together and decide kind of what you're going to go target and kind of do the research together? Is there one that kind of does more research than the other? And
we both pretty much share in what we do. We've pretty much learned that anyone that he comes up with town-wise that we don't go to anymore. Isn't that right, Mike?
I pick all the good spots, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had this. Oh, can I tell this story, Mike? Can I tell the story?
Tell the story.
All right.
So we have some friends in the club, and they're active just like we are, and hunting, and they're always, you know, real protective of their spots. And I just told them, I said, hey, you know, rather than us competing, let's kind of work together. We won't go in your direction, and you don't go in our direction. And they're like, okay, all right. And I, you know, I was talking. I was like, are there any towns you're just done with that are in your direction? Yeah. So he gave a couple, Well, one of them I knew had just been pounded. I mean, I had heard from a friend of mine that there was metal detectors there in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the place had just been pounded. And our buddies had pounded it. And they were like, yeah, help yourself, you know? And so I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go at all. And Mike was, boy, I tell you, that's old. We need to go. We need to go. I was like, no, Mike, it's been pounded. No, we need to go. Well, when Mike wants to go, you might as well just go. Because he's going to keep bringing it up, aren't you, Mike?
I am.
He's going to keep bringing it up, keep bringing it up, keep bringing it up. So we went. And we walked away out of that town with 1 wheat penny.
Yeah.
1 wheat
penny. So now Mike doesn't get to choose anymore.
Still had a good day, though, because I think I stopped and got you a Taco Bell cheesy gordito.
Yes, cheesy gordita.
See, that's something. That's something.
Hey, Jeff, tell them the story about you turning the machine off on me that one time. That was a good story.
Oh my goodness.
Remember that?
I'm always messing with Mike while we're hunting. Always messing with Mike while we're hunting. Did you ever see that episode, Ken?
No, I don't think I caught that. I gotta love to hear that story, though. I'm sure everyone in chat would too.
Okay, so I'm a firm believer in not using discrimination. Okay, do not use discrimination on your machine because you can't hear everything that's going on. If you're over signals that it doesn't want to have on, you know, you're not going to hear them. And so I want to hear them. I want to hear, oh, hey, there's a patch of nails right there. I'm going to slow down, and boom, you know, time to time, I'll kick a dime out of there. You know, I'll be able to pick it out. And so I keep telling Mike, oh, I don't use discrimination. You do too. So he's down on a hole digging, and I snuck up behind him and just turned his machine off because I knew he had discrimination on, and I knew he wasn't hearing his threshold. So I just shut his machine off, and then I just walked over to the side and turned on my camera and just started videoing it. And of course, I let everybody know that I just turned off his machine, and he won't know it for a while. And so here he comes, just bebopping along. He knows something's up, but he can't figure out what it is. Yeah. And he's metal detecting this whole area, and I'm about to explode. I mean, I'm barely holding it in. I'm such a kid. I mean, honestly, when I get out there, I'm 5 years old.
So, Mike, what were you thinking? Were you just like, I'm not getting anything in this?
Yeah, I wasn't getting nothing. I couldn't figure out what was going on. He's over there laughing like, well, what's wrong with him? You know, what is he doing? And it took me a while to figure it out, and then just think all the stuff I missed because he turned my machine off. It was probably 4 or 5 minutes. I'm out there swinging, and I was just having a good old time, you know. And I wasn't even getting a beep or nothing. No junk, no nothing, you know. Wow. It was quiet. I couldn't figure it out. It was funny. It was really good.
Was there any payback?
No, it's hard to pay him back. He's too alert for me.
Yeah.
I sneak up behind him, but he always catches me.
Hey, Don wanted to know when you guys went to that town, you only pulled that one Wheatie out of there. Who found the Wheatie?
It was me.
It was Jeff.
It was me, Mike. You know I'm the Wheatie King.
That's right, the Wheatie King trophy. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Hey, so when you guys do a lot of door knocking, and who do you guys share that duty? Is there one that does a better job more than the other? How does that come about? Do you guys kind of size it up and go, you take this one, Mike, you take this one, Jeff, or how's that work?
Jeff's good with the Victorian houses. I'm a little bit leery of those. We're talking about the manicured yards and stuff like that. He's really good at getting those. Now you get the older ladies, I'm on them. I'm good with the older ladies now.
He does. If we pull up and there's a 1983 Pontiac Bonneville in the driveway underneath the carport, I send Mike in.
I go in for it.
And it's a 100%. Well, it's at least 98% guaranteed. If we see an old woman outside, Mike, for some reason, he has a way with the older ladies. And
I do. And usually they invite me in and feed me and everything. And I get to eat pie and cake. He's out there in the cold metal detector, and I'm just eating up a storm. We got out there one time, and I was the one where the lady invited me in. And I ended up being part of the neighborhood watch when I left, you know.
Now that's something.
Whatever it takes, you know, whatever it takes. Yep. Yeah, I'll be right there at your meetings, at your neighborhood watch meeting. Yeah.
Some people. Go ahead.
What was funny, Ken? He was gone for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, you know, and he went across one side, and I went the other side and I couldn't get any answers. I turn around and look, and I see him talking. I'm thinking, boy, that'll be a good one if we can get it. And I turn and look, you know, I heard the door shut, and I'm looking to see I turn around, he's going inside. And I'm like, okay, well, he wants to show him something, you know, he found in the yard or something. I don't know. Yeah. And he stays inside. And I thought, well, I'm not just going to stand here. I'm going to go get a permission. So I go and I knock another door and get a permission. I'm to the point, I'm like, I text him, are you okay? Well, he doesn't respond. His phone only gets reception if he's standing on the tower. And so he never responded. So I just start hunting. You know, I'm not worried about him too much. You know, she was old, but I think he could take her. And so anyway, we got in there and it was crazy. He finally comes out and tells me, I said, what on earth you been doing? He goes, well, I'm part of the neighborhood watch now. I'm like, you don't even live in this neighborhood. Yeah, I know. So I'm like, oh my goodness.
And I'm receiving a fruitcake for Christmas.
Yeah.
Hey, a lot of people are intimidated to door knock. I mean, I think it's rampant in this hobby. The people that get over that fear and start doing it, I think they have such a better time and they have such better luck. And they're always stuck on this. So what are the words that you say? So we're gonna role play, Jeff. How about this? Yeah, what do you want? Yeah, what do you want?
I just tell him my name. You know, I tell him, hey, my name is Jeff Ford. And I always give him first and last name. I did a tutorial video one time on how I get permissions. And I tell him, I said, listen, my name's Jeff Ford. Me and my buddy Mike right here love history. We're ate up with it. You know, we're also relic collectors. We're out doing a little metal detecting today. I was just wondering if you mind if we checked your yard. That's it in a nutshell. I mix it up a little bit. If they have a dog, I talk about their dog. But here's the thing about it, and I think a lot of people, and if I could give one piece of advice going in, and this is the hardest part to get over, but it's not an attack at you. It's not personal. A no isn't a no against you necessarily. You know, now if you come up there and you look like a hoodlum and a gangster and all this stuff, it could be personal then, you know. I tell everyone, you know, try to clean up. You know, Mike and I both carry secondary fleeces, hoodies, and things like that. And if we're really, really dirty, we'll flip one out, you know, to go to the door. Last thing you want to do is go to someone's door covered head to toe in dirt and say, hey, can I check your yard? Because they're just going, oh my goodness, you've been underground, you know. So I don't want you in my yard.
Yeah. But never take the metal detector up there either.
No, you never take any gear. You don't look, you know, we don't take gear, we don't take shovels, don't take anything. And you know, you play it by ear sometimes. Sometimes the yes that you get is a little bit of a timid yes. And so when I come back to the truck or something, I tell Mike, you know, backs to the house on your first few digs, you know, and we don't read them right all the time, you know. Sometimes they'll come out afterwards and you're thinking, oh, I'm about to lose this permission. And they're just as excited.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is how curious the homeowners are to what might be in their yard.
Right.
You know, if you wanted to get every permission in the world, go up there and tell them, hey, I just want to see what's in there. You can have it all.
Right.
You know, they might be more open to that. You'd make it harder for the rest of us who, you know,
right.
If we hit that neighborhood, hey, this guy gave us all of it, you know. But, you know, the door knocking part of it is definitely the way to go. I mean, that's where people were 100 years ago. That's where kids played in the yards. Now, parks are good too, but they're pounded. You know, the parks are absolutely pounded, especially where we live. And not that you can't still find something, because guys do. But you know, they don't find it with the consistency that we do in yards. And,
how often do you lose a permission? Is it pretty rare?
We lost 2 the other day. And we lost them because we got permission from the wife and then the husband came home midday and didn't care for it.
Yeah. Is that usually the case? Spouses learning about what the other one just allowed you to do.
if we lose one, that is usually the case. We've had a couple, and back early we used to use the stand-up shovels, the bigger ones, the 41-incher, and which is, when you go out into someone's yard with that shovel, it's a little intimidating. And I mean, not that it's a big shovel, and you can keep it pretty hidden, up against your leg. But when they see it, it does concern them a little bit. We try to explain to them, hey, we can definitely dig a better plug with this that won't mess up your yard than we can with the hand digger. But it got to the point that we lost a few that way. And we just decided then, hey, let's just go to hand diggers only. And I don't bring a big shovel. Mike still has his medium-sized shovel. But, and we've just gone to that. The only problem with that, and I have, having a YouTube channel, everyone and their dogs tells you what you're doing wrong and what you need to do better, which, I enjoy some of it. But, people want live digs. Well, I have a camera in one hand, a little hand digger in the other hand, and I'm in Missouri, which is not as rock free as most of the other places we hunt. And so to dig it and keep it on video is a pretty impressive thing. So, when we get a live dig, no matter what it is, it's a good feeling because we kept it in frame. Right. And I know I could keep, Jason always hits me up. He goes, oh man, get one of those little selfie sticks, drive it into the ground. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's just one more thing to carry, know?
Right. Well, it depends. I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube videos of various different channels, and it depends. There's different styles, right? You got somebody like maybe Addicted to Bleeps, let's say, over in England, right? Mm-hmm. He doesn't really ever show him digging any target. It's usually the hole in his hand, and he's saying, hey, check this out. The hole in his hand, hey, check this out. Where you have other people that they really try to show. I know it's a concerted effort. I know it's a concern for people because people don't want to be accused of this or that or whatever. So a lot of people like to show the clod and show the imprint or whatever. But it just really just depends on who your audience is and what you care about, really. I mean,
yeah. Well, I know myself personally. I do my videos in such a way of what I would like to see, but I will add, that's the one thing I would like to see more of on my videos are live digs. Now, I don't want everyone to be a live dig. I mean, you do see some videos where they just all live dig and you get done with 30 minutes and you had 6 targets, and to me, that's, I'm wanting to watch to see what people find. And, I started that show it all format, which I know, Matt with Gone Digging did a show it all challenge. And I just, I had people emailing me saying, can you please show your trash? Well, to me, in my mind, I'm thinking, what? Why would you want to see my trash? That's not something I would want to see. I don't care what kind of trash you dig. I know everyone digs trash. But I guess there were people out there that were like, well, I had this one guy emailed me and he said, would you please show some trash? My son swears up and down that you never dig trash. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, so I just went out. It was me and Mike and Eric from our club. It was his first time to go with us. And I just got out of the car and I looked at the yard and I knew it was big enough to house 3 of us and to have a decent amount of space, because you really need a decent amount of space if you're going to do the dig it all. And I just put the camera on and I said, you know what, guys, I'm going to show you everything that I find in this yard. Had no clue how it was going to turn out.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, it's hard to pull a little scrap of aluminum out and want to reach in and get your camera out, clean the lens off, and video it for a half a millisecond and put your camera back up. And, I do, honestly, I have to say, I really don't enjoy the filming of a dig it all, but I'm way pleased with the way they turn out. I mean, I like to watch them. I really do enjoy watching them. I just hate videoing them.
Mike, what kind of camera do you use?
Well, Jeff got me the, what is that called, Jeff? The JVC.
JVC Quad Proof. It's the R10 model.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Jeff? What do you
use? It seems to work real well.
Well, that's what I use. Mike Mike used to use a lesser JVC, and if you watched any of Mike's early videos, he had tendency not to show the object on camera. And so I got to watching him and realized that it's because the screen on his little flip out camera didn't work on either of them. He had two of them. Oh yeah, I can buy them for $35. And I'm like, well, all right. But so he never knew where it was, you know, on the target. And so for Christmas last year, I surprised him and bought him a quad proof R10 like I use.
Yeah, awesome. That's awesome. Hey, let me take a quick break real quick and say hello to some people in chat. Everyone, if you're just joining us, this is a Digger Spotlight with Plugmaster Ford and Missouri Mike. I'm DK with Adventures in Dirt. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Looks at Copperhead Metal Detecting I see in there. Wes showed up. Wes Stringer's in the house. Tin Cup Tim. Digging Canuck, Liz is in the house. I saw Dog is my co-pirate. I saw Neil from over in Australia. Welcome, buddy. Who you see anybody else in there? Metallic Archaeology.
Gary Rivard, Greg Finding America, Pull Dab Commando, Kane Beeping is in the house as well. E-Detector CR. That's pretty good that I can see these with my eyes. I'll be honest with you. I just impressed myself, guys. So I'm done.
We'll be digging. We'll be digging's in the house. Thanks for showing up.
Will be digging.
Yeah.
You need to subscribe to Will Be Digging. I'm pumping his channel up for him. So
yeah, excellent.
That's Brandon. That's Brandon. So.
Huntress Kimmy, Clodhopper Scott, great channel. You guys should check that one out. Also tearing it up over in England. Great job. So yeah,
I wish they would explain to us a little bit more about what all is needed to go mudlarking, because on our trip when we're going over there this spring to England, we plan on mudlarking for at least one day. And I guess we have to buy a permit or something. So.
Yeah, I think there's a permit. I don't know what the process is. I did a thing on Nicola White. She's a pretty good mudlarker out there, and she was explaining on a couple of her videos. So if you go on her channel and kind of look back and kind of do a search for permit, that word permit, maybe it'll pull it up.
Okay.
But what are you guys swinging? Jeff, what are you swinging these days?
I mainly am swinging my CTX 3030, my Mine Lab. I did get the Equinox, and we got both of us got the Equinox 600. I'll be honest with you, I'm really, really impressed with the machine. And I told someone the other day, I almost think that Equinox will outhunt that CTX. I still haven't compared them side by side, but here's the difference. I won't go to the Equinox full-fledged because I'm older. My knees tend to hurt, and I don't want to dig all the trash that I would have to dig using the Equinox. You know, that's the one thing about the CTX and like the E-Track, the technology and the numbering system that they have. You can really get a fairly good idea of what to dig and what not to dig. You can overdo it, and we do probably miss targets because we don't chase a lot of the silly ones, but all in all, we've done good doing it that way. But I mean, I have seen that Equinox pull some stuff that you just go, wow. But
how about you, Mike? What are you swinging?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I got the CTX. The thing about the CTX, and Jeff will tell you this, we'll get into a yard, and if we're not digging anything, we'll look at each other, and if it's what we call a 5-inch yard, we may not dig any targets shallower than 4 or 5 inches. The reason being is, there may be a lot of clad there, and if it's a yard that's got fill in it, it saves you some digging time. Sure, you might miss a few targets, but whereas that's got the really good depth meter and it's fairly accurate on a coin, the CTX does. The Equinox doesn't quite have that good of an advantage on the depth part. And Equinox is great as far as light, works great. A little bit, a learning curve on that because the numbers are different, which usually they go off the tone anyway, but you've always got a tendency to look at those numbers. I don't care who you are, you're going to look down and see what they are. That's just nature of it.
Right.
Like I say, the weight issue on the Equinox is a lot lighter, and it does go very, very deep. It's a deep machine, excellent in the trash. I mean, I do believe it'll hunt where there's a lot of trash and get a lot of good finds out of those places. A lot of the places that we tend to hunt to, a lot of times there may be you know, a rental house situation where somebody's a renter. Nothing wrong with being a renter, but a lot of times those are what I call turnover houses. You may have had 10 families in the last 5 years or 7-10 years live in that house. They're moving in and out, in and out, in and out. But when they go to tend to move in and out, there's lots of stuff to get dropped, you know. So
Yeah.
You get in those yards, you've got that layer of trash and stuff, and you've got to get through that to be able to get down to the better stuff.
Yeah.
And I believe the Equinox does have an advantage in those kind of yards that have a lot of debris in the yards, you know. But
how do you go about coming back to it? How do you go about coming back to a yard? So you get permission the day you're there, you start hitting it. Do you have that conversation up front that, hey, if we don't hit this all this weekend, is it okay if we come back some subsequent weekend, or how does that work?
Yeah, we'll ask them if it's okay to come back, you know, but usually the yards that we're hitting, I mean, they're not, you know, big 2-acre yards or anything. Usually they're smaller in town, and we can usually work a yard over, you know, in a couple, 3 or 4 hours. There's exceptions to that. We went back to yards before that had a lot of items, you know, but once we work a yard over, it's usually on to the next one for us. It's not coming back. Now, those, like I say, a few cases we've had yards that were bigger that had a lot of stuff, and, you know, we'll ask if it's all right to come back and look again. Usually we do that prior to leaving, you know, and thank them for, you know, always thank them for letting us look, you know.
Right.
But our goal, honestly, Ken, is to not want to come back. And so when we take that yard, and we hunt with guys who are, you know, roamers and go here and there and just go everywhere, and I can understand them going back, you know, feeling like they might have missed something. Mike and I grid everything, and then after we grid it, if it was a decent yard, we switch sides and check up on each other.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when we leave a yard, anyone's welcome to it. We, you know, the only time we would really come back is if we got into a bigger yard and it was getting towards evening or time to leave, and we were doing pretty good, you know, then we might approach them and ask them. But our goal is not to go back to the property. I mean, honestly.
How often do you guys pick up, you know, neighboring yards when they see out there doing it? Everyone's curious. Hey, what do you guys find? And you can come do my yard next. I bet that happens a lot, doesn't it?
That happens all the time.
That's where Mike really excels, though. Mike is really, he's a lot more alert when we're hunting. As far as like when someone drives up, and again, like I said, I'll turn around and he'll be gone. His machine will be laying in the yard still yet. I'll start scanning, and he's 3 houses down because he saw someone drive up. You know, he's really good about that. We do have, well, honestly, you remember, Mike, that town we were hunting, and we were doing okay. It had been hunted before, but I'd found an Indian, and this guy comes over from next door and says, hey, you guys are welcome to hunt my house. And we're like, okay, well, you know, it's close to this one. So we thought, okay, we'll go ahead and do it, you know, thinking that maybe you'd have overflow, but we didn't think the house was that old. And we were totally floored. The house actually turned out to be really old. And I busted a seated dime at 1.5 inches deep, you know? So, wow. I mean, it's, you know, we do have opportunities where people, and a lot of times people come over and go, what are you guys doing? You know, I always tell them I'm getting rich slow.
Yeah, I'll have to remember that. I'll have to steal that from you.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach Fisher. Zach Fisher in chat wants to know, do y'all ever dig fields where old houses used to be?
Well, in our area, we don't have a ton of that. You know, we don't have crop fields here. Now, it's something we're looking into as we travel more. But, you know, I love standing structures, way less trash for the most part. But, yeah, it's, you know, we've started looking, you know, using the Sanborn maps and things like that. But that's mostly just in town. Historic areas will show you some things. But, you know, the way we hunt and the way we just get up and go, you know, we kind of research a town and then we just go after it. Then, you know, we're looking for structures, basically. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you want to look at when you approach a house is a lot of times, if you look at there's about 5 or 6 things to look for that we like looking for. One is the age of the street. If you look at the newer streets and if it's an older street, a lot of the older curbs are squared off. They're actually sections of almost like sections of those pull-up blocks that you would pull up to in a parking lot, and they're squared off. That's a good sign of an old street. Then you're going to look for older trees in the yards. Big oak trees is a big teller that that's an old property. Look for the foundations, whether it's brick, rock, field rock, or formed brick, or poured. Those are good indications of the age of the house, along with the chimney.
Yeah.
You're looking for an older style chimney. If you can get that old chimney and get a lot of that stuff figured out, then you can kind of try to age the house off those things and get the age of house that you would like to hunt.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff you can see on Google Streets too. You can go to some house and get some new town you never been to before. Go street by street. You know, you can find it. Do all your research you can do on historical areas or whatever you want to do, old maps or whatever. But then you go there and you're just looking for, like you said, you're looking for those curbs that are all broken up, them big old trees. What you laughing at there, Jeff? Who's
Oh, I was just gonna say I haven't seen Chris Heimsoth in the chat, but I got to tell you a story about Chris Heimsoth. So we pick a town. He's going to hunt with us that day. So we headed north and met him at a town in between. And I had got on, I'm talking to him on the phone, and I get on Google, you know, and I drop down and I'm driving the roads on Google Maps, and I just stop and I go, okay, I found the house we're going to hunt. And he goes, oh yeah. And I go, yeah. And so I told him the address, and he pulled it up and he goes, oh man, that's a nice one. And so I said, all right, well, we'll hunt that tomorrow. I said, okay. So I pull up, he gets in with us at Dollar General, and I really didn't know where I was in the town, but I told him, I said, now just point me to the direction of where the old stuff is. And so he did, and we go down, and I almost took a right, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go up 2 more roads, and then I'm going to take a right. And I did, took a right, and boom, there's that house right in front of us. And I said, hey, that's the house, Chris. And I said, I can't remember. Mike, did I tell him? I pulled up and stopped, and I said, let me go in and let them know we're going to hunt.
Yeah.
And so Chris is like, do you want me to go? And I said, no, I'll just go. And so anyway, I go up there, super nice family. We had a great time. Their kids came out, you know, homeschoolers, which I get along good with. We're homeschooled, you know, family. And so homeschooler kids, and we had a blast. Had a great day. We all dug a bunch of stuff. We spent all day in that yard. It was a huge yard too, but it was funny with Chris because, you know, I told him, I said, I'm gonna go let them know we're gonna hunt, and that's kind of my mentality going in. Honestly, is, you know, hey, I better go and knock on the door so they'll know what we're doing out here because I'm gonna hunt this yard.
What do you guys like to find? Like I've made no secret about it. I really love tokens. I just love finding tokens. It's just, for some reason, it just really is my thing. But besides silver hordes, what do you guys? Each one of you, I'll ask you each separately. What do you guys really like to find?
Well, let's do it this way. Let Mike tell you what I really like to find, and I will tell you what Mike really likes to find. Mike, you go first.
I know Jeff's number one's going to be a Tootsie car. He loves digging the Tootsie cars, and he loves the tokens. The coins are good, but I really think the Tootsie cars and the tokens, you know, are really neat for Jeff. He likes those, and probably the number one coin that he finds, and it's the same for me, is if you can dig an Indian, that's his favorite coin, is an Indian over all the others.
You forgot, Mike, one of my favorites, though.
What's that?
The dog tags.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could probably dog tags.
Yeah. He does good with dog tags, too.
Yeah.
But I know, you know, for me, where I live at, I'm in an older part of town here, and not too far from what I would call the bar district where I live at. So back in the early times, there was a lot of you know, bars and stuff. So there was a lot of bar tokens. So in my area of town, there is a lot of tokens from bars and things from the early times.
Bar tokens and condom tins, maybe.
Yeah. Well, and I would say, you know, that's one of the things Mike really enjoys, and he loves to dig tokens. And he does dig quite a few tokens. You know, he'll wear me out token wise. He will wear me out silver ring wise. I don't know why he's such a magnet for silver rings, but he is. I mean, I find quite a few. It's not like I pass them up, but for some reason, and he'll take, if he digs a silver ring, if he looks at me and says silver ring across the yard, I already know it's huge.
Oh yeah.
For some reason he finds huge silver rings, and time in and time again but he's been on a good run of rings this year. But tokens probably his favorite thing. I kind of got him to where the Tootsies are more thrilling to him now than they used to be. Let's think of another thing. Mike really likes to dig. Mike, I miss I tell you what, he likes old things with names on them, like watch fobs,
or store names,
advertising. He's gotten into this Knights of Pythian thing, which I'd never heard of, and he's dug like 3 items of Knights of Pythian, which is weird, and they've all been different ones. So he's the master, and Brandon, who's in the chat, can tell you Mike is the master of digging the unusual.
Good.
And I think it's because he digs a lot of targets the rest of us just kind of pass.
Yeah, I do dig a lot of junk. And I have a tendency that I stick my pinpointer in a hole and I keep wanting that other item in there too. If he teased me on that, he goes, "Now, you already got what was in there. What are you doing?" I said, "Well, maybe there's something else in there too. I don't know.
Got to be more. Let me take a couple more inches down.
There's got to be another one down there. Got to be that other one."
I have, and I've documented this on film, where I have dug 3 targets, and he's still been in the same spot in the yard.
No kidding.
And
yeah,
he's bad about that. He'll get the target and he'll stick that pinpointer in there. If it goes off, well, he keeps going, and he might come out with 7 nails. But to me, it's easier just to grab my machine and scan it and go, okay, those are all nails. But
I don't claim to be a sage about all your videos that you guys have done. I surely haven't watched them all. I'm a big fan of both your channels, so I do watch them quite a bit. But have you guys ever found something in the yard that you tied directly to the homeowner that you were able to go back and say, "Whoa, look at this," and they said, "Whoa, that's my grandma's," or something like that, you know?
I had an opportunity one time. In fact, it was the yard we called the Holy Moly yard. Incredible yard where we just found tons and tons of stuff. But I found a bracelet, a silver ID bracelet, and it had military numbers on it. It didn't belong to that actual homeowner, but I was able to track down who the owner was. Well, he passed away in the 90s, and so I thought, you know what, I'm not going to stop there. So I started looking for his children, and wound up locating his daughter, and she actually didn't live super far from my route home. Set it up and did a video of delivering that to her, and it was, I tell you what, I've never felt so good about, doing something. She had a shadow box that she had prepared of all of her dad's old stuff. I mean, had his old baseball glove in there. I mean, it was an old glove.
Wow.
And she actually had a picture of him in the military, in the service, and he had that bracelet on. But, she had never seen that bracelet. She had never seen it. Their house had gotten broken into, and apparently they saw it had his name on it, so they ditched it. It was all we could think that happened. But, we do get from time to time. Actually, we had that same yard where I did a show it all hunt. The people had lost a gold ring, and so asked us, would you look for it? And we're like, sure, we'd love to find it for you, which turned out to be just a blessing to me because I normally don't dig a lot of the odd gold signals. I found quite a few gold rings, but it's usually because they ring up like a nickel on my machine.
Okay.
But they also ring up higher, but so does a bunch of junk. And I don't like to dig a bunch of junk. And so I know, I've probably skipped quite a few gold rings, but this day was different. We had a mission. And so I was digging all those signals that could have been in the gold ring range. And they described it perfectly for us. It was it was just a plain gold band, not super thick, just your normal wedding band. The guy had been raking leaves and lost it somewhere. And so I got a signal, and I thought, okay, and I pop it open, and boy, sure enough, boom, there's a gold ring.
Wow.
Well, it wasn't his gold ring. It was a really, really old gold ring from the Totem of the Eagles, which was the new and improved Order of Red Men, which is a club.
Yeah.
And so, it could have been 1700s, but more than likely it was probably late 1800s. Yeah. So beautiful gold ring though.
It's awesome. Well, we could talk about gold, but you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about silver. And if I'm going to talk about silver and I'm talking to Plugmaster Ford, you probably know what I'm going to bring up. And everyone in chat, if you're not familiar with it, was it earlier this year, Jeff, that you and Wes and I don't know who all was involved. Maybe you can tell me here in a second. But boy, they got on a property and they got on some silver. And I'll let you just kind of tell a quick synopsis. And I got a little video clip that as you're talking, we'll probably run it.
Okay. Well, I'll start it off with, this was Wes Stringer's find.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people include us together. I basically just documented and helped him dig it out. He discovered it. It was an awesome story. We were chatting back and forth through the whole day, and I felt like I was a part of it just because, I was sharing his excitement the whole time. And, it was funny because my wife asked, she was like, what are you all wound up about? Because I'm just texting through the day. And I finally told her, I said, listen, Wes has gotten into a cache of silver. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I don't know how many he's dug so far, but, he's dug quite a few. And so the day ended and he called me up. I said, well, what'd you finish with? He said, 132.
Wait, let's stop right there. 132. What? Pull tabs? No.
Nope. Mostly
rounds of silver.
Yeah, mostly halves. I used to I have the breakdown on my phone at one time. Of course, I'm doing this from my phone, so I can't show you. But we, all in all, and so anyway, Wes invited me down to help, and honestly, we did it just the two of us. We probably should have brought someone in a little bit earlier. The days that Wes is off, Mike works, and the day Mike's off, Wes works, and so. We never could make that work. We did have Chris Heimsoff come down and help us on the final day, which we brought the mini excavator in again. If you haven't seen the videos,
that's amazing.
We convinced Wes convinced the owner to let us bring in a mini excavator to excavate that out, which, so Wes digs 132 coins the first day. I come down there, and my first time down there, we wound up digging 200 coins, 200 even, and it was incredible, And so I go down again another time, the next weekend, and I think it was 208 maybe, or 200. I can't remember how many, but it was around 200 again. But we had beat last week's number.
Wow.
And so then we got to talking about the excavator, and so. Wes said, I'll talk with him. And Wes called me up, and Wes had access to one. So that was a blessing. And so he talked to the guy, and he said, yeah, sure. The guy wanted rid of the crap. You couldn't have asked for a better case scenario than what we had. We had a homeowner who wasn't interested in it. I mean, he was interested. He thought it was really cool. He was a big finders keepers kind of guy. He had granted us permission with the assumption that if we found it, we got to keep it, and that's kind of his mentality. Because he made a comment one time, because we were trying to figure out, were all these coins buried outside of this structure, or were they inside or maybe in the wall? And he said, well, if they were inside, he goes, you guys would have never found them. He goes, because I would have kept them, So he did understand, the value and everything of it. But he, here he was, wow, you guys are doing good. And he would come out 15 times a day while we were there just to see how we were doing.
Yeah. Do you guys ever find anything more about that? Like, did you, over time, have you discovered a little bit more about the story as to were they on the inside? And
yeah. And again, to protect his privacy, we really don't want to go too deep into it, but we know a little bit more, the two people who could have buried it, or probably did bury it, are both deceased. But there is still family, and we actually showed some of it to one of the family members, and he was really surprised. Not that we found it, because he knew, his grandpa was a barrier, but he was surprised at how much we found. And so we go in there that day with that excavator, and you talk about excited. I mean, because we know we had just dug 200 and some odd coins, that just that week before. Well, we put rocks in the ground marking where we had stopped, because we didn't want to have, we wanted to know which direction we were going. And I'll be honest with you, we thought we were following the basement. Because what happened, this structure burnt down. It had a full basement, burnt down, and then they bulldozed it. And so a lot of these coins got pushed into that void of, you know, where there was nothing in the basement. And so it was so much, you know, so much work to do by hand, even though we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But when we got the excavator out, and that, I think I named that episode The Mother Load. And
you did a few episodes of that.
Yeah, I think there was 6, maybe 7 in the whole thing. But that one was called The Mother Load, and it was just absolutely stupid. Yeah. Wes would be bucketing stuff out, and I'd just watch coins fall, you know, and I'd go, stop, and I'd reach in there and grab as many as I could. He pulls the bucket out one time, and there's a huge peace dollar just smiling at him. Jeez. right at the end of his bucket. Yeah. It was just incredible. We wound up 717 coins, I think, is what we pulled that day. Yeah. 717 silver coins. So we're all just tickled to death with that. So, you know, we take the excavator back, everything's good. You know, Wes cleans it up pretty good. And then we go, all right, let's hit it again next weekend. So Wes, you know, I guess went by and talked with him a little bit. And then we got the bad news. He said, you know, I guess he got a little more attention with the excavator than he wanted to, the owner. And so he goes, oh, yeah, you guys can dig, but let's not do the heavy equipment anymore. We're like, okay.
All right.
Okay. So loaded up the pickaxes and the shovels again because we knew where we had been. And we go out there, and it had rained quite a bit. And we dig it by hand, and we knew where we wanted to be. And so basically we were going to dig a 4-foot wide by 8-foot long section and try to get 2 foot deep. That's hard to do, especially in muddy conditions.
Yeah. With
all the rocks. And this was not easy digging, Ken. Let me tell you, this was the hardest digging I've ever been into, just because, I mean, think about when they bring in backfill, you know, around a house or something, and then trying to dig through all that. It was horrible. And then everything involved. Anyway, we wound up, and I always hate telling this story. We wound up the day with only 90 silvers. And I know that sounds funny. Only 90, boo-hoo, you know. But to what we were used to pulling out of there, it was in a way, you know, it was kind of disappointing.
It's one of the most amazing videos, series I think I've ever seen since I've been in this hobby. And for those of you that are watching, if you're watching the replay right now, or maybe you're not familiar with it, I'll tell you what, down below in the description is a link to both Missouri Mike's YouTube channel and also Plugmaster Ford's YouTube channel, and head on over there and check it out. Boy, you won't be disappointed. It was just an incredible journey that you took us along, and it was just an amazing time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I'll be honest, after that day of digging 90, and again, it wasn't the best weather, and it was, you know, it wasn't the best conditions, but we worked so hard, Wes and I. And when we got done, we kind of both looked at each other, and we knew both of us were thinking the same thing. I'm done if you are, you know. And we did. We just kind of decided right there that, you know what, this is it. I mean, you got to think about, you know, at that point we had probably 1,500 silvers that we had pulled. And so, you know, we were good. I see Wes posted it was wet and sloppy. It was horrible. Yeah. It really was. And what was bad was trying to fix it. You know, if you've ever, I mean, we got down into the water table. And so it really stunk. And then trying to fix that, it looked horrible. And so we knew we were going to have to fix it. And so anyway, we left that day thinking it was over, you know, that we were done. And we knew we had to fix the property. And I can't remember if it was Wes or if it was me, but we were talking. And the homeowner was wanting us to go ahead and get it fixed because he was wanting to plant his grass seed, you know. We had wiped out the crabgrass for him, of course, because when we went in there with the excavator, well, anyway, let me set it up ahead of time. So we get to talking about it, and we thought, you know what, if we're going to bring in equipment to fix everything, I wonder if we could talk him into letting us bring in the excavator a day early, breaking everything up, and then fixing everything.
Why not, right?
And Wes said, I'm going to go work on that. And so anyway, he went and he calls me up and he said, okay. And so this time we actually had to rent it. So we had to rent the excavator, and then we had to rent the soil conditioner, the preparator, and which, you know, we didn't mind doing. But now we're sitting here going, okay, now we have a cost that we have to cover. So we have to dig a certain amount of coins.
Yeah.
And so knowing that, I was talking with Wes, and I said, Wes, we really could use an extra hand. I said, you know, who do you think would be someone that would be good to bring in? And he said, Chris Heimsoff. And I said, yeah. And Chris already knew where the location was, because the first video that I did, I had to blur out a lot of stuff, and I had him proof it ahead of time. Even though I had approved it and Wes had approved it, I wanted someone else to approve it. And Chris watched it and said, you gave up your location at 4 minutes, 21 seconds. I went, what? No way. He goes, yeah, you did. I said, there's no way. And pretty soon he texts me a screenshot and he didn't know he had done this, but he had a point on the screenshot of exactly where we were digging.
Oh boy. I
mean, it was one thing to have, you know, he was right across, you know, but he had it right where, of course he didn't know that. So, and you know, that's what Wes said, Chris Heimsoff. I'm like, yeah, he already knows where it is anyway. So
wow.
We brought Chris in, we got the mini excavator out again. And Chris realized, wow, this really is hard. I mean, I can't explain to you the masking of targets. You know, I had in one of my videos, you could see a $50 sticking out of the side of a wall, but I couldn't get the machine to read it until I was about an inch from it.
Is that right?
Just because there was so much stuff. And it taught me a lot, you know, about how much iron can mask and mineralization. It was just the most horrendous soil there was. But that last day, we did wind up getting 535 more silvers out, which put us up 1,937 or 1,927 silvers. We dug over 2,000 coins. I mean, there was clad. For some reason, this guy hoarded nickels, and not good nickels. I think Wes got one buffalo out of the bunch. The thing that killed me is we're in this huge pit, digging and digging, and it's something that I've always wanted to find and have never found. And Wes goes, "Oh, hey, look, an arrowhead."
No kidding.
I'm like, oh my God. And then he pulls another one later.
Wow,
I don't know.
Incredible. Do you guys talk about value, or have you ever brought that up? A digologist was asking, have you guys ever valued that out? And or do you not talk about that?
At the time we dug it, you know, just based on melt value on coins, it was around 7,500.
Yeah,
is what it was. So
amazing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, they're in horrible shape. You know, we've cleaned them, but they went through a fire and bulldozed in gravel and rocks and nails and everything else. And, you know, and of course, you know, Ken, I got berated by everybody and their dog about rubbing those coins. And, you know, it's hard to get across to some people that, you know what, I don't care.
Exactly. It's your coins,
I mean,
right?
I don't want, I mean, I'm just going to keep the coin, you know, and it's not, you know, I wasn't going to take each one of those individually and clean them. I mean, it was 2,000 coins, you know?
Yeah.
It's
amazing. Yeah, on the live stream you got so everyone in chat, they actually did this live stream where they came together, and that's where I pulled that video clip from, and they talked all about the Horde. So you can watch the whole series of them finding everything and just the elation they went through, and then you can actually follow it up with the final live stream they did. It was almost like a press conference where they talked about it, and at that time Jeff talked about cleaning them coins and how he cleaned them, and showed you some differences between a cleaned and an uncleaned coin. So yeah, man, it's your stuff. You found it, you clean it, you rub it, you do what you want to do with it. You know.
Well, I don't want to. I mean, honestly, I don't want to ruin a coin, and I have gone. In fact, I'm trying to get stickers made for Mike Squirty Squirt. You know,
is that what it's called, Mike Squirty Squirt?
That's what we call it, because I mean, honestly, it's a little spooky. It does resemble urine in color, and you know, it's I don't know what
secret formula.
I don't know what's in it, but I call it Mike Squirty Squirt.
Okay, everyone, put one in the chat if you want a little bit of Mike Squirty Squirt.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jason knows. Jason knows that Mike's got Squirty Squirt, and So, but yeah, I want to get some stickers made. So maybe Mike can start selling squirty squirt bottles.
Squirt.
Right. Hey, just
everybody else calls their squirty squirt something different. That squirty squirt's really good stuff.
Yep.
And I just want to let everyone know we're going to go a little long tonight. We got a little bit of a late start due to some technical difficulties. The man behind the curtain didn't push the right button, so I apologize, everyone. But we're just going to keep on chatting as long as we have stuff to chat about. So, hey, do you guys go along to? So I know we've talked about digging in Virginia. You guys ever been to CWPPO or anything like that? And do you do any other events or any kind of other organized hunts?
We haven't. DIV is basically what we've done. I'll be honest with you, just, you know, it's we approach things a little bit different because we're door knockers. And, you know, I sit here and I go, okay, CWPPO is out in Ohio, you know, which we want to go to Ohio and hunt. That's, you know, a lot of people want to go to Ohio and hunt. And I could, you know, I could get involved in that hunt and I could find stuff and you turn it in and, you know, it's neat to, it would be neat to interact with everyone. Or I could take me and the boys and we could go door knocking for 4 days and just find some incredible stuff in Ohio, which is way older than what we are here in Missouri. You know, Missouri was a state founded in 1821. And honestly, where we live, there weren't a whole lot of people till late 1800s. And right. So, you know, for us to go over there and in fact, I've just got a string of videos that have just come out. In fact, my one tomorrow is one of my best finds ever.
Oh, wow.
And it just floored me. But you know, the chance to go out there and dig coins that are older than our state is just, you know, that's why we go. And so I would rather, and you know, I still love the Civil War hunting, don't get me wrong, but I'm a coin shooter, and I think, you know, Mike's the same way, and Brandon and Adam, who's another guy that goes with us, we're coin shooters, and that's what we enjoy. And so if I'm going to drive all the way out there and I'm going to give 3 days, put 3 days in, I'd almost rather do it door knocking. Yeah. You know, and that's the great thing about door knocking. You don't have to have things set up ahead of time. You just got to look for people being home.
Sure. So this is, you know, this has been the year of collaborations. Boy, a lot of people have done a lot of collaborations. A lot of YouTubers have gotten together. You know, it's still on my list to get together with some of y'all if I can ever take some time off and get it done. But Mike, are there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there that you haven't dug with yet that you think it'd be cool to go travel and dig with?
Oh, there's lots of people out there I'd love to go dig with. Ohio Relic Hunter, some of those guys out there. You got to remember the old ground, you know, where the old stuff, you know, if you're digging in old ground, you're going to find old stuff. So, I mean, there's so many great YouTubers out there. So many people got great channels. You know, it's hard to watch them all. It's hard to keep up with it. I work a full-time job, and it's just hard to stay on top of everything. I know Jeff and I, we've dug with several YouTube people. We've dug with Jason, the quarter hoarder, and dug with John from out in Washington State.
Gone digging. We've, you know, we enjoy hunting with Matt and his crew, and Loy, you know, digging with Seven and Tennessee Jeff. You know, I enjoy that. You know, I enjoy the whole YouTube community is just, it's a bunch of nice folks. And I, you know, I would love to hunt with everybody. And I've always told people, I said, hey, you get in our way, holler at me. And if we can get you out, we'll take you out. That's what happened with John. John just started he's Mr. Beepers on YouTube.
Okay.
But he just started another channel, and I can't remember what he called it. But anyway, he was going to be in the area, and he sent me an email and said, hey, and I'm like, sure, you can go with us. And so our goal was to get him an Indian, and because he lives in Washington State, and apparently there's not a lot of Indians there. But we tried, and Mike and I both dug Indians, but John didn't. But he had a good time.
He dug a real nice dog tag, though.
Yeah, nice dog tag.
Well, if I ever come and hunt with you, that's my goal. I've never dug an Indian, so
Have you
If
not?
I make it out your way, we'll have to try and get me an Indian
You know,
out there.
it's funny. It's funny how a lot of the people that live in certain parts of the area. I know a lot of people on the East Coast, you know, in certain areas haven't dug a Civil War bullet, and you know, some people haven't dug Indians and things like that. It seems like you know, it's kind of regionalized. You know, your finds like a gold nugget or anything. You know, my chance of digging a gold nugget probably aren't too good in Missouri, but you know, if I was out on the, you know, in Colorado or out somewhere else, I might have an opportunity for that.
Gotcha. What, did we lose Jeff?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm just I'm trying to get us new business.
Gotcha. Get your video locked up.
Yeah, I'm bringing it right back.
All right.
But yeah, it's funny. It's funny how different parts of the country, you know, stuff's just not there. You know, that's like a large cent in Missouri is really hard to find. You know, I mean, that's one of the goals. Of course, I didn't get one, but when we went to Ohio, you know, I really wanted to try to get a large cent because there's a lot of them there, and you know, there was a lot dug. I didn't get one, but I mean, I tried and I had a great time. For me, digging with somebody that I'm not used to or in a group is more or as much about the trip as it is about the finds. I love seeing new parts of the country, you know, different house designs. Those things are really neat, you know, places I haven't been. You know, there's so much out there. I've never seen the mountains. I've never seen the ocean. You know, I've not went a lot of places. So
yeah.
Anything that's new for me to experience is an adventure, you know, and I enjoy it. I mean, I really do. And I mean, everybody that I've met, Militecton, has been so nice and friendly and just a great bunch of people, you know, just great to be with and very courteous and everything.
Yeah, I haven't met a lot of them except for online, but from what I can tell you from just interacting with them online, I'd agree with that. There are a lot of great people in this hobby for sure. I'm going to pose the question to the chat. Why don't you guys go ahead and put down if there's somebody on YouTube you'd love to dig with. Go ahead and put who you'd like to hook up and collaborate with. I saw some questions about your bad lip reading. Like if there was I know we talked about a little bit earlier. You were working on one.
Yeah.
When do you think you're going to have that out?
I don't know when I'm going to have it out. In fact, I was just calculating up the time today of how many minutes. I don't know what I did with that piece of paper. Oh, here it is. Let's see. I finished one today. I'm close to 2 minutes on this new episode that I'm doing. Like I said earlier, I've done Gone Digging, Darnell Hello World, Williams Metal Detecting, Digging Canuck, Ask Jeff Williams, and again the Will Be Digging. I'm going to scrap that one. I gotta find something better on that. I wasn't happy with that one. And I did Man Plus River. I got that one completed. I have quite a few more to do. But honestly, and I wanted to ask what people thought of this. I was thinking because it takes a lot of time. You know, you sit there and you go, okay, boy, I knocked that out. And you look at it and you go, oh, it's only 18 seconds. You know, I just spent an hour and a half to create an 18-second video, which I don't mind doing. I have fun doing them, as you can imagine. But they are so short, and short videos on YouTube don't do very good. And I like my videos to do good. And so what I was thinking of doing was going back and, you know, if I can get this episode to 5 minutes and then going back and pulling some of the older ones that I had done before, and just incorporating some of those in, getting it closer to the 8-9 minute mark. You know, I think people would enjoy seeing some of those again, and there's probably going to be new people who haven't seen some of those as well.
That's a great idea.
I thought that would be good. There was another question in there. I can't remember what it was.
Somebody's asking what you're swinging.
How many? Here's one. How many Tootsie toys are in Mike's collection?
There you go, Tin Cup Tim.
Yeah, Tin Cup Tim. How many Tootsies are in your collection, Mike?
I don't know. I've been putting them together and restoring quite a few. I probably got about 20 that I painted, you know, up. I probably got about another 50 or 60 that I can work on that are worth painting. And there's lots of parts and pieces there too.
It's easier for us to answer how many have we dug combined, isn't it?
Dug a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're over 200. Over 200 Tootsies combined, I think is what we figured up one day.
A lot of them that you dig up are, beat up and stuff. And if you take the stuff they call liquid nail, you can actually, like putty, you can form little parts on them and stuff. And I did one where I dug a 1928 Ford coupe, and it was missing a headlight, and I made a new headlight for it, and it really looked good. It really turned out well. But you can use that kind of material, and I put it in acetone. I actually put a little car in last night and forgot about it, and when I pulled it out a little while ago, the wheels were dissolved.
Oh, no.
Shoot. Yeah, I shouldn't have left it in 12 hours. It should have been about 20 minutes, but anyway, mistake. So that's why my hands are black with rubber tires that melted on me. But
gotcha.
It's a lot of fun, and I have time of evening when I get home to sit around and do a few things. So I enjoy that. I've got other stuff I'm going to work on around here. I've always been kind of a person that like to do stuff like that.
Yeah. Thin Blue Diggers 5.0 wants to know who's the Weedy King.
Jeff's pretty good at the Weedy King. I win the trophy every once in a while. For those of you that don't know, the Weedy Trophy was a trophy top that Jeff dug about a year ago now.
No, it's probably been 6 months ago.
Yeah, dug a trophy top off of an old trophy, and we got to calling it the Weedy King Trophy. So
now let me throw this out real quick first. let me throw this out because I dug this trophy, and I would tell you at that point right there, I would have said that Mike was the Weedy King. He always dug a ton of Wheaties, and I mean, if you would have asked me then who digs more Wheaties, I would say, oh, Mike just kills me on them.
Yeah.
But then we started the competition of, hey, let's make this the Weedy King Trophy. Let's have some fun with this. Whoever finds the most wheats for the day gets to take the trophy home with them. We're like, all right. And so it kind of got to be a joke. We're playing around. But so it's been 6 months, Mike. How many times have you had the Weedy King Trophy in 6 months?
Maybe once or twice.
I would say three. I would say 3 times.
Yeah. I'll tell you what it'll be. I'll be up on him like, 7 to 5 or something like that. And he'll come over and I'll say, I got you now. And he'll say, nope, I got a Wheatie spill. I found 3 in one hole. He'll win by 1 or 2. He's done that 2 or 3 times to me. And I'm going, what? Yeah. No way did you dig a Wheatie spill by 1 or 2. That's happened, I know, 3 times. And I just thought I was up on him, and he'll dig 3 or so in a Wheatie spill hole, and he'll be up on me. That happened several times to me. So
yeah,
it's all a lot of fun. And I always call weed heads. I had a guy ask me the other day. He said, you call weed heads. And he said, why do you call them weed heads? I said, well, just kind of a fall off of the Indian head. I thought, well, Indian head, weed head. So
right.
A lot of times I call them weed heads.
All right. So, hey, you two, let's take just a little bit of break. Indulge me here for a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and do a giveaway on one of my Weekly Dirt T-shirts. Looks like that. You can see it on the screen. Black T-shirt, got the Weekly Dirt emblem. And for those of you that are not familiar with the Weekly Dirt, it's a weekly series I put on every Sunday. You can go to my channel. You can check it out. But I'm going to give one of these away, and we're going to do it the same way we've done it. I've already pre-selected a number, and we're going to do 1 to 100 when I say go here in a minute. And then whoever is the first one to come across that number will win themselves a Weekly Dirt T-shirt. So if y'all think of a number between 1 and 100, and then if you want to get started, just go ahead and start typing whatever numbers you want into chat right now. And as soon as I see the number, I will say stop. And it's going to go pretty quick here in a minute. But I will keep my eyes on it. Yeah. And just keep going, and I'll let you guys know when things are there.
I'm going to keep guessing.
Okay, yeah, keep guessing. You guys are on. I didn't share the number with you guys before the stream. Yeah, keep going. We're not quite there yet. Stop. I see it. See it. Let me just kind of go back. Everyone stop for a minute. I'm going to go back and see if anybody had it beforehand. Let's see. Where is that? Done. No, I didn't see it. Shoot, I got to. Tony is my moderator in there. Everybody, help me check if you would, Tony, when I tell you that the number was 67 is the number I had pre-selected.
I know, I guessed that once.
So I thought I saw K What as being the first one, but I know Mark Sexton had it also. I just don't know who was first, Tony, so I'm going to go ahead and let you make that call. Digologist was also there.
Digologist I show as first.
Okay.
Well, 67?
67 was the number I had.
Yeah, it looks like Digologist. Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. There's some more up here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Digologist was it.
Yeah.
A couple other people had it too, so I apologize. But Digologist, congratulations. I'm going to choose you. Tony, you tell me if I'm wrong. I'll let Tony make the final decision, but I'm going to say Digologist. Send me an email, sir, at dk@adventuresindirt.com. Send me an email with your shirt size and a mailing address, and I'll get that right out to you. For the rest of you, thanks for playing along with that. I appreciate that. And keep listening to your questions in here. We've got a few more minutes here with Plugmaster Ford and Missouri Mike. How'd you come up with Plugmaster Ford, Jeff?
Well, it's funny. My farm that I have, we have two houses. We have our main house that we live in, and then we have a little house which was built in the 30s. And so we were down there, me and the boys. I can't even remember which son of mine it was down there. But, you know, I learned early on, I was like, you know, if I'm going to dig in someone's yard, I need to learn how to do it good. And so I thought, you know, what better place than my own yard, you know, especially down there because it was Bermuda grass. And Mike and I hate digging in Bermuda grass. Hate hunting Bermuda grass. In fact, we passed some that are Bermuda grass. But I went ahead and dug it. And one of my sons was down there, and I just dug a plug, and I flipped it open. I think I got a wheat penny or something like that. And I flipped it back and patted it down, and he came up and he said, "Wow." He said, "You can't even tell that you even dug a hole there." And I looked at him, and I was just joking, and I go, "Yeah, because I'm a plug master." And then I just thought, hey, that's kind of catchy, the plug master. Yeah. And so I thought, you know, I'm going to start a channel, and I'll be honest with you, you know, when I first started really watching YouTube videos, I did it to learn about my E-track that I had, because you know, there's that learning curve. And so John, JD's Variety Channel, was one of the ones that I mainly watched because he had so much good information on the numbers. You know, he used to swing the E-track all the time. And he really cut my learning curve down. And so, you know, I watched a lot of his, and he honestly, if you look at my videos, they're very similar in the way we film. And I think maybe that's why I was, you know, drawn to his channel. I like the way he did it because that's the way I would do it. And so when I started doing mine, I was kind of like, wow, I'm doing them kind of like JD did his, you know, the same kind of, you know, digging it out and showing it or whatever. And so, you know, I just went with Plugmaster Ford. My son went down and designed my little logo, which a lot of people don't. If you see that logo down in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, that's actually a silhouette of me on the beach in North Carolina metal detecting.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, my son took that picture. I don't know how he did it. He's quite gifted at stuff like that. He made that whole logo. What a lot of people don't understand or don't know, he's very gifted, and I try to make sure that he has equipment so he can do this stuff. And so here in that, there's an explosion, kind of sounds like an explosion as the thing dissolves. Believe it or not, that explosion is a cello.
No, really?
It's a cello, and he manipulated some stuff. I think he even turned it around, and I mean, he reversed it, played it backwards, and peaked it at times. He's very gifted at that stuff, like I said.
That's awesome.
And so that's, I always get a kick out of the logo, just because I sit there, I know what went into it, you know, and how neat it is. So,
and Mike, I'm not going to ask you how you got your name. I think we could probably figure it out. I think I could probably figure it out, maybe. But
yeah.
Let's talk about bucket list. Let's talk about top of your bucket list or close to it. What do you really want to find? I'll start with Mike.
Oh gosh, I've got a lot of them I still have to find, but I'd like to find a large scent. Yeah, I'd like to find a large scent. That's on my list. There's a few found in Missouri, but not very many. They're kind of rare. Mm-hmm. And you know, an older silver would be neat. But I know we've got a trip going to England this March, and Jeff and I and a couple other people are going. We'll be digging. Brandon's going, and he's kind of putting it together. But when we go over there, I figure I'll probably get some of the older stuff that I've ever dug. So anything, you know, around the time of the Romans would be really, really neat, you know, and I'm looking forward to doing that. I mean, there's lots of stuff that I still haven't found, and I guess that's, you know, that's what we're digging for, is those items that, you know, you haven't found. And one of these days I'll be surprised whenever I do find something and dig it up, you know. So, you know, as well as I do, that as much as we've hunted now and you've got so much stuff, you know, I mean, I've got buckets full of stuff, and probably the kids are probably, when I'm gone, they'll probably come in and go, wow, look at all this junk. I'll just throw all this away. And it took me years to get this stuff, and you know, they're just going to throw it away. So, you know, it means something to me. And you know, I mean, I've never sold anything. Everything I find I respect it. It's part of history. It's part of where I live, you know, and it's not about financial. Anybody that's metal detected knows, you know, if you think you're going to go out and find that gold chest or whatever, that's not the case. You know, I'd make a lot more money in what I do working than what I do ever swinging a metal detector. It's always about finding that next target, finding something that's rare, finding something that's odd, finding that piece of history that was lost by somebody. And, you know, anything that you can find that ties something back to the land or a historical item that meant something to somebody, those are all bucket listers. I mean, just the simplest thing, you know, an old suspender clip or something that somebody had to use. That was part of their life. You know, that was what they had to do back then. I mean, just picture it now. We're on YouTube and everything going on now. You know, picture what it was like not that long ago, 120 years ago. You were back to the horse and buggy, no cell phones, no internet, no nothing, you know.
Not a long time, is it? Yeah.
No, it's not been that long. And, you know, you go back to those days, those are what they actually had to, you know, they had to use those items for everyday life. You know, that's what they relied on. Yeah. And anything like that is a bucket lister, you know.
How about you, Jeff?
You know, coin-wise, it would be the large cent, and some of the older coins would definitely be, you know, on there. But anyway, everything you find is a treasure as far as I'm concerned. From the spoon you find to the, you know, to any of those items, they're all treasures, you know, and they all are meant to be, you know, preserved, and they're part of history, and that's important, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well said. How about Jeff? What do you got something near the top that you're just kind of really itching to find?
I've been really blessed to find a lot of bucket listers over the years, but I have one that has eluded me, and that's a seated quarter.
Really?
That's probably number one. You know, and my bucket list, or, you know, a lot of people have like the gold coin on their bucket list. Well, that's really not on my bucket list, because that to me isn't a reality, an everyday reality. I want something on my bucket list that I really have a good opportunity of finding. And so, you know, that seated quarter is definitely on my bucket list. And then secondly would be a Trime, 3-cent piece, silver. Only bad thing is I don't dig those signals. From what I understand, they can hit a little bit lower than what I normally dig. but they can hit in the token range. And so, you know, I'm hoping to get one. And so those are basically the two that I think I have a legitimate chance at finding. Now, when we go to England next year, that gold coin is definitely going to be #1 on my bucket list.
Can you talk about that? Can you talk about that England trip, how'd that come about and what that's all about?
Well, Brandon, again, guys in the chat will be digging. That's Brandon. He's gone a few times to England on this group hunt. It's a club over there, and you know, you have club leaders. A lot of people have seen Chicago Ron's videos. He's a club leader over there, and Buddy Webb is just starting to do tours over there as well. And so we had an opportunity to go and kind of do a custom hunt. You know, Brandon always said that the saying over there is 7 days isn't long enough and 14 days is too long. And I can understand that, you know, I mean, you dig for 10 days straight, that's a ton. You know, 7 days and you might say, oh boy, it's still got a couple in me. And so we were able to do a custom trip of 10 days, a 10-day dig. And so that's digging daylight till dark for 10 days straight.
Wow.
And so we're going to do that, but we're also going in a couple days early, and we're going to go mudlarking on the Thames, and so we're going to do that for a complete day. Well, not a complete day because when the tide comes in, you really can't do much. But when the tide's out, we're going to do what we can, and then we're also going to probably spend a day at the British Museum. Now, I'm not really a museum kind of guy, really. I bore pretty easy. And so, you know, when Brandon mentioned that at first, I was kind of like, yeah, you know, I'm not really into museums. And he goes, you will be this one. And I went, really? And he goes, stacks and hoards and piles of gold everywhere. And I went, okay, yeah, we'll do that. You know, I mean, that's real treasure in the British Museum, you know? And so it's exciting trip. I know the groups that have been out there just in October, and they got some new property to hunt, but they have, I think 9 gold coins have come out of the ground in October. So,
wow. Well, congratulations and good luck to y'all. It's a once in a lifetime trip. I know I've got a ton of friends over there in England, and I just haven't made it over there yet. It's one of my dream trips to take.
Oh yeah.
Got to get to Missouri first, right? And then little baby steps, right?
Get here. We'll shove you in the suitcase.
Hey,
I'll be okay at the mudlarking because I can spot stuff on the ground. I find a lot of my finds, surface finds. I'm always stepping out of the truck and finding a coin or something on top of the ground. It never fails. Seems like I have good luck finding stuff that's real shallow anyway.
Yeah.
He is good. He is good at spotting stuff like that.
Right. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you two being on with me tonight. It's been fun. We've been on for about an hour and a half. If you don't miss that first part, I want to say thanks to everyone in the chat for making it very interactive. It was great. You guys had lots of good questions. I'm going to probably put you guys on hold for a little bit while I shut down and kind of say goodbye to everyone. Anything you guys want to say before I put you on hold here?
No, I mean, I tell you what, I appreciate, again, you know, a bunch of good folks that are in the chat. Appreciate you coming in and supporting Ken's channel, and you know, make sure you hit that like button before you get out.
Yeah. I appreciate everybody also, you know, and I know Lily, my little doggy, she does too.
That's Lily. All right.
Yeah. She my buddy, me and her, and I got an older one here, and she's about 14. This is about 8, but yeah. Anyway, I appreciate everybody that's watched and everything. It's great to be on here. I appreciate you having me on, Ken. I really do.
Sure, Mike. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, go ahead and place your order now for a bottle of Mike's Squirty Squirt.
Yeah, you could.
It's really a secret recipe. Yeah.
You know that's gonna hit. It's gonna hit comments all over your videos now. You know that, right?
Yeah.
All right, you two, hang on just a minute. Let me shut down. Thanks again, guys. Really means a lot for me. You guys take your time to come be on with me. I really appreciate it.
We appreciate you having us. Appreciate what you do.
1 second. All right. Hey, man, wasn't that awesome? Absolutely awesome having those two on with me tonight and taking the time. Plugmaster Ford, Missouri Mark. Just a great couple of guys. Would love to make it out and hunt with them sometime. I've been talking to them about it, that my genealogy has led me to some areas right around them. So I'm sure a trip's not too far off in my future. Whether I can go fit in that suitcase or not and make it to England with them, we'll have to see how that works. But listen, everyone, thank you so much for the support of my Digger Spotlight show. You guys have come out in droves and really helped support it. And keep doing it. I really appreciate it. Absolutely. And for those of you that aren't familiar with it, I put these on about twice a month. Have some notable diggers coming up. I try to get 2 on a month or something. My next guest on is going to be Gypsy with Zero Discrimination, coming on November 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern, another Wednesday night. That should be another great conversation with her and what she's been up to lately. So make sure you're tuning in for that. I'll be putting some more information out on that as we get a little bit closer, but that should be a great time. Gypsy should be a great guest. But hey, everyone, thank you so much. If you're not following me on Adventures in Dirt, I also have a weekly series I put out every Sunday at 3 p.m. called The Weekly Dirt. And The Weekly Dirt is a compilation series where I pull together clips from all kinds of different channels. So if you find yourself in a position where you just can't find time to watch a bunch of these videos and follow all these channels, consider becoming a subscriber of Adventures in Dirt and coming over to the Weekly Dirt, and then you'll get a little taste. It's almost like a little sneak previews of each one of these channels. I usually feature about 4 to 5 a week. I also tell you about upcoming giveaways you can get in on. So feel free to come on over and participate by watching the Weekly Dirt every Sunday at 3 p.m. But hey, that's what I have for you here on the weekly on the Digger Spotlight. See, it's an automatic thing for me. I appreciate everyone coming along and being active in the chat. 2 more minutes this is going to run, so feel free to finish your conversations. I'm going to go ahead and close down and end my conversation with Jeff and Mike, and then you're going to hear some music. You're going to see kind of a screen playing, but that's not it. It's going to stream for 2 more minutes while you finish your conversations. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your support. Appreciate your comments, and we will see you on the next Digger Spotlight or Weekly Dirt, whatever comes first. But everyone, have a great week. Talk to you later. See ya.